Wonderful. Thanks again for coming on. You can hear me okay?
Yep, fantastic.
Perfect. So why don't we kick off with you telling me a little bit about what you're focusing on at the Crypto Council for Innovation at the moment?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, Crypto Council for Innovation is a global advocacy organization. We partner constructively with regulators and policymakers around the world to help shape credible and thoughtful and substantive regulatory frameworks to best help grow responsible innovation across the globe in different jurisdictions.
Wonderful. And are there any specific priorities at the moment in the lead up to 2024?
Well, again, as I mentioned, we're global, so very much focused in the US on federal and state. A lot has been happening at both levels. We're also very active in the UK, in the EU, as well as in APAC, and we use an evidence-based approach to be a resource to policymakers and regulators, again, as they think about and consider how to best establish these credible frameworks to attract responsible innovation to their shores and jurisdictions.
Got it. And what are you seeing and hearing in the lead up to 2024?
It's a really good question. There's a sense of strong optimism and excitement for 2024. And it's not just about the markets rebounding, which they have, but there's just so much going on, as you pointed out, in the past year for the crypto industry. But I think to take a step back for a moment, it's helpful to take stock of three key developments from 2023, which I think will help inform 2024. First is we saw many major market global jurisdictions take key steps to establish or begin to establish regulatory frameworks that fully recognize the potential and the impact of digital assets. In the EU, we saw MiCA come into force in June. MiCA sets out a comprehensive framework covering many different parts of the broader crypto ecosystem, including crypto asset issuers, stablecoins, trading venues, and service providers. In the UK, we saw the beginning of essentially a crypto asset policy sprint focused on phased implementation of various rules and regulations for digital assets. And in different parts of Asia Pacific, we saw different licensing frameworks being considered or established. The MAS in Singapore, for example, released its finalized rules for stablecoins in August. Japan's stablecoin law went into effect in June. And we saw Hong Kong's licensing regime for crypto trading platforms going live in June as well. And even in the US, which has been a few steps behind some of these other jurisdictions, we saw a strong increased bipartisan effort in supporting Congress this past year. We saw a market structure bill, FIT 21, advance out of both the House Financial Services Committee and the House Agricultural Committee. We also saw the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act, which would establish a comprehensive framework for payment stablecoin issuers, pass out of the House Financial Services Committee. So in the US, also specific to the US, we saw a pure regulation enforcement approach by certain regulators, which unfortunately harms innovation and fails to protect consumers. An example of this would be the Grayscale successfully suing the SEC for its decision to reject the listing and trading of Bitcoin ETP. And all of this reflects a need for additional regulatory clarity in the US by way of a comprehensive legislative framework for crypto. A broader theme in 2023 for me was that despite all of these developments, crypto innovation is continuing. We're seeing exciting innovation, including in the context of DeFi, crypto custody, and broader tokenization trends. And I'm very excited for what's to come in 2024.
Wonderful. And what are your thoughts on the market in general? When do you think the bear will end? Has it ended?
I've long given up on making predictions about the market. What I'll say, however, is that I do think we are seeing the thawing of the crypto winter. Look, cryptocurrencies have staged an impressive comeback. Despite certain sensational or negative headlines about crypto markets, we've seen leading digital assets, again, defy odds and prove their resiliency. For example, the markets have rebounded after initial decline in 2023. Bitcoin, I believe, is up nearly 150% over the past year. Ethereum, has posted about a 75% return in the same period. But I highlight this market performance not to weigh in on investment opportunities or make predictions about where the market is trending in terms of price, but rather to focus on the fact that digital asset ecosystem remain in demand and is resilient. Throughout 2023, we've seen builders, innovators, founders, developers, and other leaders continue to focus on helping to deliver on the promise to improve legacy financial systems and create more open ways for everyone to access financial services and so much more. And I think this demand and resiliency is rooted in consumer and investor belief in crypto's transformative impact and potential. And given this backdrop, I think 2024 will be a dynamic, exciting year for digital assets innovation and policy across the globe.
And do you think sort of this time next year we'll have that regulatory clarity here in the US?
So I think next year will be interesting. It's an election year in the US. So it's always difficult to gain significant traction on key pieces of legislation. That said, I do remain hopeful that there will be an opportunity to make progress, build off of this past year on either a stablecoin or broader market structure bill. Of course, House Financial Services Chairman McHenry announced he will not run for re-election, but he appears committed as ever to move needed crypto legislation in a bipartisan manner. It won't be easy to land legislative success in 2024, but it is possible. And at the very least, it will create an anchor for the new Congress in 2025. Look, in 2023, we had a stronger bipartisan support and effort and a deeper understanding by policymakers in DC about digital assets and the need for this clarity. So I'm hopeful that this continues. The digital asset industry, including CCI, will have an important role in being a resource and partner to DC in all this. And lastly, just keeping on with the US, the states have long led in establishing supervisory frameworks over the crypto markets. The New York DFS continue to evolve their framework. We saw California pass a bill recently to establish a licensing framework as well. And various states are looking to refine or update or establish these frameworks too. And I mention all that because at the state level, the key question to me, however, is which states will best partner with the industry to establish or further refine their frameworks to best keep up with this responsible innovation. Lastly, I think just zooming out, I think we're going to continue to see a continuation of the race to the top among different jurisdictions to become leaders or provide this regulatory clarity that you asked about. As we talked about, MiCA passed in 2023. Now we'll see it being implemented across the 27 EU member states. The UK, again, is taking more of a piecemeal, strategic, and modular approach to crypto policy, but it's expressed its intention to keep on leading in a forward-leading way. And we're seeing leading jurisdictions in Asia Pacific do the same. So I'm hopeful for this clarity, but depending on the jurisdiction, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of the timing and the implementation and the details, of course.
Absolutely. Have we seen this aversion and sort of resistance towards an industry before? Is this new?
It's a really good question. I think whenever you have such a transformative impact and potential, a new asset technology, governments across the world are going to take their time to really think about how to best regulate, how to best grow this type of innovation. I think digital assets are unique in many ways, and I think it's a matter of policymakers and regulators continuing to partner with industry through public-private partnerships to really understand why this can have such a positive impact to the lives of so many and how to grow this.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, those were my questions. Do you have any other comments in terms of looking ahead to the next year that's important to communicate?
No, I think I'm excited for next year to keep on building upon the many successes of our industry. There's a lot of potential for further mainstream adoption, continued innovation, and I think an investment into digital assets. I think we'll see more retail and institutional demand and interest in digital assets. And that's one of my main takeaways for this past year. The digital assets industry is a space that has proven time and again that it should not be underestimated. And I look forward to seeing even more of the transformative potential impact and exploration of all of that in 2024.
Absolutely. The technology itself has been unwavering, and that's something to be very excited about.
I agree completely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate it. And happy holidays.
Same to you. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks,